6 inches is going to cover everything. That
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. Six is big enough anyway.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast, where tonight I am joined for the audio listener by Sam, James, Vince, and Ali. So, as always, at the start of the episode, you can follow us on Instagram and Spotify by following the links in the description down below. So, to kick things off, we are back with yet again another GBHL 100 preview episode. It's for a 700-point event, which has some pretty funky rules, I would say. And it's called City of Steel, which is being hosted in Sheffield by our very own Ali King, who joins us tonight, as I mentioned. So would we say this is probably the closest we've come to a Gollum's Gamers event? I would say.
Well, as in, because it's the first time a Gollum's Gamers run an event, technically.
I guess so, right? Some sort of tie,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I am part of the team, and this is the first event I've run as
You
part
sound
of
really
the team.
thrilled to be part of the team.
Yeah, you never sound thrilled. It's quite funny, actually.
I am one of the most
Catch yourself.
monotone people in the world that probably you could have on a YouTube podcast. So,
You're
like,
great for a podcast. The listeners are loving it right now.
We're holding Ali against his will.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So some of these funky rules, the main thing here, the kind of quirk of the event is that if you take a non-legendary Legion army with no allies, you can give a single wound model in your army the King's colours for no additional cost, which is essentially just a really fancy banner. That means that models and armies that may normally not be able to take a banner can take the King's colours, assuming that they meet the other requirements to take it. So a few quick things kind of about how these special banners work. So the first thing is that if the model holding the banner is slain and it can't be passed, you place a 25mm marker where the model was to represent where the banner now is on the ground. Any model, so not only a friendly model, but enemy models as well, can pick up the banner using the rules for light objects. If the model holding the banner is killed in combat, the model that did the final wound will take the banner, even if it could be passed on to a friendly model that's unengaged and in base contact. So if you kill the model holding it, you take the banner. Now, if the banner is dropped, you don't gain the normal banner effect while it's sort of just there on the ground, and you don't gain its special effect either, which we will come on to in a minute, as each banner has its own kind of special rule until you pick it back up again. So then you get your special rule back and the normal banner effect. The final thing is that if an enemy model has the banner, so they pick it up, your army will suffer -1 courage. Now, Ali, I wanted to ask, is it -1 courage flat table wide, or is it only within the range of the banner?
table wide.
Table wide. I thought so, by the way you'd put it. Yeah. Which is cumulative with other similar rules, unlike usual. And you don't gain, obviously, the banner or its special effect while the enemy player has it. So a couple other final things, small sort of caveats here, is that if you take one of the special banners, Suladan will lose the benefits of having his banner, and if you take the Dragon Emperor, he will lose his 12-inch banner effect, but he will keep the +1 fight value. So that's sort of it. There are all these quirky banners. Now we'll come on to obviously what they kind of do in a minute, but a lot to unpack there. So Ali, any initial kind of thoughts on why you decided to make the banners function in this sort of for the event?
So one extra thing probably worth saying is Boromir, Gamling, and Halbrand would get their banners for free, and they count as a King's Colours banners for the
I
rules
was a
as
bit
well.
unsure on this. Yeah. So
you wouldn't have to pay for the points to get their banners, but then they would follow the other rules. So there are two main prevailing things behind this. One, I wanted to encourage people to take pure armies, but I also didn't want to prohibit people taking armies that they wanted.
Well, mission accomplished on the pure armies thing.
Basically I gave everyone a big carrot as to why they should take a pure army, and it seems to have worked. And then also I was rewatching classic Sean Bean TV series Sharp, and one of the early episodes in that is called Sharp's Eagle, which essentially at one point in the show, spoilers, the king's colours get stolen, and then it's about trying to steal the Imperial Eagle to regain like honor and stuff like that. So I decided that was kind of a cool concept from history and the TV show. I was like, let's put it on in a rules pack,
I
and
wasn't
that was
sure what
basically
I wasn't
inspiration.
sure how you were going to answer that question, but there is actually some kind of inspiration then that you
Yeah.
got the idea from. So
Also, it's my surname's King, and then it's the king's colours. So,
there always has to be some kind of ego stroke in there for Alec King somewhere.
oh yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it. So, any thoughts from anyone initially, kind of on the rules for the banners? I like the -1 courage. So it, I guess this is probably a good time to mention as well. So about the scoring for the event. So it's 5 TPs for a win, 3 for a draw, 1 for a loss, and then you get 1 TP if you have captured. So you're holding your opponent's king's colors at the end of the game. So it's really going to promote people to, go for it and not just treat it as a banner with a special effect. Like there's actually TPs, tied to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes Magic fairly good, because if you can say second to last turn compel their king's colors and pick it up with a hero, I mean that's pretty good. I also don't know if you mentioned it, but like if you pick up your opponent's king colors, you don't get the banner effect, right? And you don't
No.
you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
I said that at the end. But yeah, it's basically
you just
nothing.
have it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's from what we can see, we'll see later. There's a fair amount of, I imagine, Harbinger models, and
Yeah,
the
with the -1.
-2,
-2, yeah.
will be pretty big, especially companies like Break Test and stuff for some of the scenarios as well. I like it. I like the difference because the army's taken compared to normal, like a normal 700 point event, is so vastly different. I think. Like this, essentially no legions. I mean, there's some people that have taken like 1 or 2, and fair play. But yeah, I'm a big fan of how the banners work, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
variety in them. You still have, although you're limited to only the army itself, there's the banners give you such a wide variety of things to play around with and try and make the most OP combo possible, essentially. So makes sense.
Also, it's one of those ones where, because we haven't had a release for quite a while, the game gets a little bit stale. So it's kind of how do you shake up the meta without actually changing the rules, if that makes sense, and make it fair for all armies. So it's basically if you give every army the same options to like basically with the 6-inch banners and go, what's the one thing that your army always like struggles with, whether that be shooting, magic, might, who knows? You can go, well, here's your solution. Now let's see how it goes. Was also an interesting sort of idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything from you, James, before we move on?
Couldn't heroes pick up the king's colors? Like
Yes.
take it from the
Oh,
other side.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So an expert
But
rhino is going to be nice.
But they would be at -1 for their fight because
Yeah.
their bottom it or whoever.
But if
But if
you're
you fight a
like,
last turn like Hail Mary, just chuck it.
yeah. If you're a
And
mountain,
it's also nice if you're playing against one of those Legion players, you just get a free TP.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on top. So I think it's probably time then that we talk about the actual special effects. So the first thing is that all of these options, there are 6 of them, they are all 6-inch banners. So obviously that's a really big deal, right? Say Witch King Sully, for example. A really good thing about that is that it has a 6-inch banner, but now every list has a 6-inch banner. So that really does sort of change things.
Yeah. How do you fix Sully? Give it to everyone.
Everyone. And you don't gain the banner effect or its special effect if the bearer is prone, just to mention. So the first one we have is the Royal Standard. At the start of each turn, before priority is rolled, a single model with your faction keyword, so Mordor, for example, may regain a single point of mind used earlier in the game. So you can't obviously do the bard thing and gain loads of might. If they are within 3 inches of the banner, The next one is the Imperial Icon, where all models within 6 inches of the bearer automatically pass all courage tests they are required to make. The third one is the Banner of Vengeance, where the bearer gains the Harbinger of Evil special rule. The fourth one is Icon of the Valar, where all models within 6 inches of the bearer are treated as if they have the Fortify Spirit spell cast on them. The fifth one is the People Standard, where all friendly warrior models within 6 inches of the bearer gain +1 fight value, which isn't cumulative with other benefits. And the final one, which is Banner of the Arendil, I think, Star Arendil, where all friendly models within 6 inches of the bearer are considered to be under the effects of the Blinding Light spell. So to recap, we have a 3-point of might every turn, Fearless, Harbinger, Fortify Spirit, +1 fight, and Blinding Light. So those are your 6 options for your 6-inch banner. So what do we think? Ali, should we start with you?
You don't know how hard it is coming up with 6 different names for like banner things.
You went deep into the lore there for the banner of Arendil.
Yeah. Well, that was basically me going the Vial of Gladiel kind of sort of like I was there going, wait, what was that called?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's basically the full spectrum of sort of army effect bonuses you can get in the game without going. I think the only one I probably haven't got is +1 to wound or anything like that. But
Were there any others you maybe were thinking about?
yeah, but I may save those for next year.
Oh, no teaser, no.
Flat +1 to wound would be
That
so
would be
nice.
crazy, yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, it may be some vague poisony kind of benefit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
There's a little teaser there. Okay. We'll talk about the +1 to wound.
And maybe a
that.
Fury other benefit style thing as well.
Interesting. Okay. Like a save, maybe. That'd be cool.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
4-up save.
4-up save. Let's go. So yeah, any thoughts from people on all of the different choices?
Yeah, they obviously you can kind of choose whichever one is the weakest, whatever the weakest portion of your army you're playing is. You just pick the banner that nullifies that, and then in theory you have an army that is good into everything. A lot of them are, especially like say the Fortify Spirit one, they are more niche. So some of them will be have less people would have picked them due to you might not get value out of it every single game you play. And why would you not want that kind of thing? So I'm assuming a lot of people have gone for the Might Banner because the Might Banner can essentially give you everything, like to a certain extent. Whether that's protection against shooting through Infinite March, magic resistance with Infinite Heroic Resolve. It can do everything if you need it to. It's not as good as the individual banners that give it the effects, but
it's much more versatile because
it'll be useful every single game.
Yeah, because like depending on the matchup, the need for it will switch, and you're not tied into having one specific effect. Say you take the Blinding Light one, but then you don't play something that has much shooting, or you outshoot it. Well, then it's maybe its use isn't needed really.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I like how you have to be within 3 inches, because if it was just being within 6 inches of a hero, you could it makes it more, you have to think of positioning a little bit more, because I do think it is the best banner, but it does have that caveat.
So originally the banner effect on this one was only 3 inches as well.
Banner effect as well.
I took someone's advice and just made them all 6 inches. Just to
how do we think that would have spiced it up though? I think a lot of people would still probably take the Might one, but that would give you a penalty. I wonder if
I still think people would take a Might one, but then just pay for a banner. You'd have a normal list.
There are some people who have done that. Some very good players going to the event have also paid for a normal 3-inch banner.
Yeah, that's what I would expect for people to do if it was
a 9-inch, coverage on their line, which is crazy. For only 5 points.
It's an interesting selection.
Yeah,
And yes, I'd be intrigued to see how many people have chose what some of the more niche ones.
different
Would,
ones.
would there be a banner that you would like to see next year?
I think something like +1 to win would be pretty
Plus
crazy.
one to win would
Or,
probably be too good.
or in some, I don't know. I think
Correct.
maybe, yeah, you do change the ranges on some of them to make it a bit more, because you have to kind of, you might sacrifice the range of it in order to get a better effect. Where if the ranges are all the same, then you just pick the best effect, and that's, I guess maybe what people have done.
+1 to wound for shooting, with models within like 6 inches.
Shooting's good enough as it is.
Fucking hell, James. Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, but people just take blind and light, and then it's like, oh no, my banner's useless.
Could go something like Banner of the Night, and
Because this is
they
already
play,
pretty
in night
rock,
fight
paper,
rules.
scissors-y. That would just make it even more.
I think I'd make the Banner of Vengeance better. I think if it gave Terror and Harbinger, then I think people would take it.
Terror one could be pretty interesting.
No, so give it.
Yeah, that'd be
I
good.
think Harbinger by itself is a little bit weak compared to the other banners. So if you gave Terror and Harbinger, then I think
Would that not be too good though?
I'm not sure that's
Yeah,
maybe.
don't give Harbinger, just give Terror.
Yeah.
Nah, just give both. I mean, the Might banner is so
That'd be so
good.
good.
Yeah, but like Angmar
That
gets.
is.
The Might banner
Like,
is
against any
just so
evil
good.
army, you're just going to win the game.
Oh, and also, you can cut this out. The
Mm,
correct pronunciation of Harbinger is Harbinger. All right.
I'm not cutting this out.
I don't know why people get it
That's too much
wrong.
work.
It's a real word. It's not
Harbinger.
Harbinger. It's not Harbinger.
Yeah, that does annoy me as well.
It's
Yeah,
Harbinger.
there isn't a R in
So-
there. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
it's-
going to pronounce that wrong every single time,
it's
not just for
it's a
you.
pet
Vince.
peeve of mine. Harbinger means a person or thing that announces or signals the approach of another.
Let's
Alright.
go.
Dictionary boy over here.
Vince.
Didn't know we were getting an English lesson.
Yeah, I think if you added Terror to the Hallbringer, that'd be really bad.
Educating our viewers, Vince. I like it, mate. I like it.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Now, should probably mention quickly as well about the scenarios for the event, as they are preset, so everyone can choose their banner, think about their army, and know what scenarios they're playing in what order. So, starting on day one, round one, we have Lords, then Divide and Conquer, and Fog of War to close out day one, and then at the start of day two, we have Recon, then Breakthrough, and finishing round 6 with To the Death, which I think is quite an interesting scenario to have last. What was the thinking there, Ali?
Well, it's the main banner scenario.
Okay. It's also just very matchup dependent, though, to have round 6.
Well, why? If everyone's got a banner.
Just because of shooting. Because
Okay, you take the blinding light banner then.
yeah, but if you haven't done that, then
Then it's a risk you've taken.
Then round 6.
No, they're actually arguably my 6 favourite scenarios.
To
Okay.
the Death is one of your favorite scenarios.
Yeah, it's the most classic scenario.
I don't know. Yeah, so
No, it's just it's the scenario you
They're all good scenarios apart from Divide and Conquer.
To be fair,
Not
To the
bad.
Death is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
scenario that everyone theory hammers when they're thinking about how some 2 battle lines will clash.
Well, don't forget about the shooting war.
Well, yeah, but
Nice.
that's what people theory hammer as well.
Why is heirlooms not on there? That's a fucking class one.
it's a pretty
Fuck me.
nervous scenario.
Go check out our scenario tier list, folks, if you want to see where we rank.
Yeah, I really disagreed with a lot of you on that video.
Well, you joined the team too late to be on that episode, so
Yeah.
that's on you.
Yeah.
But yes, those are the scenarios and the order that they are going to be in. So, if no one has any more comments, that is everything about the banners and how they work for the event. We
Did
will
you
move
actually
on.
say the scenarios, or did you just say the
I
last
literally read
one
them
was
out.
number 6?
I
Or was
literally
I
read
just
them
blanking?
You blanked out. You blanked out.
All I heard was
moving on
game 6 is To the Death.
We are going to have a look at the faction stats, the faction breakdown for the event. So, for the audio listener, in the number 1 spot, if you've watched some of our other GBHL 100 preview episodes, it is no shock to see Mordor in the top spot with 10 appearances. Then, in a 3-way tie for second place with 7 appearances, we have Angmar, Isengard, and Lothlorien.
It's actually not a 3-way tie anymore.
Is it not? Okay.
No,
Yeah. These
Angmar is slightly ahead now.
Okay. So there's maybe a couple other lists
Yeah.
that aren't in this pool, but yeah. And then in third place we have Minas Tirith. And very quickly underneath we have with 3 Rivendell and with 2 appearances armies like Arnor, Erebor Reclaimed, Goblin Town, Halls of Thranduil, Khazad-dûm, and yeah, that's it for 2 appearances. So in the top spots, Mordor, Angmar, Isengard, and Loth. Seems to be kind of what we see a lot of in the meta at the moment, especially Isengard. There's more Loth than normal and more Angmar, but we see a lot of those armies anyway.
So Blinding Light can cure Angmar's shooting weakness, and No Contest of Champions cures Lothlorien's Gladiator weakness, which also you get Blinding Light in that list anyway, so it's not too surprising.
Yeah.
For me, that those sort of 4 are the most popular.
And lots of people trying to cash in on the -1 courage from the banner if you capture your opponent's banner plus the Wraith -1 as well.
See, who needs the Harbinger of Evil banner when you've got Mordor and Angmar giving
Yeah.
you the Hairbringer of Evil from the Witch King anyway?
To be
Am I
fair,
right,
If you-
guys?
Whoremonger.
But if you took the Harbrunga banner and
Oh dear.
and you captured your opponent's banner, it'd be -3 courage. Right?
No.
No, it's
No.
the Harbinger banner's the only one which.
Oh, isn't
So-
cumulative.
Yeah, that isn't cumulative, so it's only
Oh,
if
I
you
see.
capture the banner that is cumulative.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That'd be lit.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Two-
wanted. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. I was
That
gonna
would
say
make it
2
better.
Harbingers don't stack. It's just because one's a separate rule. But yeah.
What the hell has that Sharky's Rogues taken?
Oh, I love him.
That's
So
so
actually,
random.
it's probably a good point to mention. At this event, there is an award for the best in faction. So there's about, I don't know, 9 players who have absolutely nailed it. As a big fan of being a hobby hipster myself and being the only one at a sort of just shy 70 player event to take their faction, and therefore they've banked themselves an award already. And a nice little trophy, assuming they arrive in time.
That means I've got a 1v1 throughout the event.
Yeah, so generally, like, at the start of the event, if there's any 1v1s, I'm probably going to actually let people know who it is. Just so, like, you can.
Sadly, I should have asked this earlier, but yeah, the thing you said about covering weaknesses, with the banners. Do you think there's a danger of maybe making some armies with less weaknesses than other armies kind of a bit too strong? Because as you mentioned, the thing with Angmar, having the one weakness of shooting, if you're covering that, then they're kind of just so all round and kind of end up with no weaknesses. I don't know what your thoughts were about that.
I mean, we'll
Like
find
there are
out.
some armies that have less weaknesses than others. So if you allow them to kind of cover every single weakness,
But then you could say that anyway.
well, yeah, but even with the banners, it doesn't cover everything for all armies, right? That's the
But I mean,
problem.
if every army in theory can cover one weakness that they
Yeah,
didn't
but
have,
then
it
you
kind of
might
means that they've all kind of just
Right.
bumped up one.
But you might have some armies that have no weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
Which is
I'm not
better
sure
than
that exists though.
Yeah,
well,
they might not be great at anything, just a jack of all trades, which isn't
well,
always
I
the
mean,
best.
we've seen people with Lothlorien and Angmar, and
They still have
clearly
weaknesses,
those
though,
are
even
Yeah,
with
gonna be
sure.
very, very good.
Yeah, you can make up for a really big traditional weakness, but then obviously every
Yeah.
other list is, kind of doing the same. So it's where do things now shake
Yeah.
out with,
It's just a thought.
it's interesting where
I could see some armies benefiting more from the banners than others, like a
I
lot more.
can't see a list
Actually-
on here that wouldn't still have weaknesses, even with the banner they've taken.
yeah.
Because if you take Angmar, yeah, they're not weakness to shooting anymore, but then there's the auto pass courage banner running around, so their terror actually arguably could be less effective.
And they could struggle more with terror themselves.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
that's a
give
fair
and
point.
take sort of when you
Yeah.
look at it,
And
but
it's
it
all
will
about
literally
when
come
you-
down to how people have built their lists and which
It'll
banners
come
they've
down
taken.
completely to match up, won't it? So that might also be another variable that kind of, don't know, makes things a little bit more like luck dependent. I don't know.
Matchups, yeah, I guess always kind of, comes into it at events, and it's just another variable, I guess, thrown into the mix where,
Yeah.
I think Angmar's an interesting choice because the fact there's 7 of them, like the protection from shooting is really good. However,
Not all of them have gone for it, by the way.
okay,
No.
so
I think it's
Most
more
have,
for
but
it's more for the magic and the flying threat to capture the banner, I'm guessing.
but it's
Like
it's more
that's quite good.
the problem of like from the other lists that are going, i.e. Mordor and Loth, that's then 17 other lists that are either going to have Compel, and Gulliver is not very, he doesn't really like Compel too much, and
Hmm.
the Lothlorien are going to have that as well as Sentinels, and again, Sentinels are a pain in the ass for Gulliver, so, and even in the 6 other Angmars, that's a lot of stuff
but
you have
bold
to
of
be
you to
wary of.
assume those Agmars have Gulliver.
Well,
We may be looking at one that does not.
But
I mean, there could be a shade one, I guess.
Any other thoughts on the faction breakdown then before we move on? No? Okay.
No, don't think so.
We will scoot along then to the leader breakdown. So for the audio listener, it is no surprise, yet again, in the top spot for the most amount of appearances, with 14 of them at this event, is the Witch King between those Mordor and Angmar lists. I assume there may be 15 now, if there was an extra Angmar list added in, Ali, maybe.
You'd
But
possibly be assuming wrong.
okay, there we go. So 14 Witch Kings then, which is a lot. I think we've had 14 once before. I think it was 14, but so maybe joint first for the most amount of Witch Kings ever seen since we've started doing our podcast at GBHL 100. Then in second place with 7 appearances, we have Galadriel from Lothlorien. And then in third place, we have Lurtz with 4 appearances, and then with 2 appearances, we have heroes like Arvedui, Dane, Durin, Gandalf the White, which is pretty sneaky, the Goblin King, King Elisar, Saruman, and Thranduil. So, any takeaways from this one?
I mean, if you want to know who arguably the best hero in the game is,
Take a guess.
yeah, it probably shows actually the wide variety. Like that, there's only 3 heroes which are scoring over like 4 or higher in of factions and like lists people have actually taken. Because even not all of the Mordor and the Angmars don't actually have the Witch King though as their leader.
Yes, not all. No, yeah.
But so yeah, that is quite a wide range to be honest.
Yeah. 2 Gandalf the Whites in there, I do love to see. I have to say. Also 2 Durins. Don't usually see.
Yeah, Ali, you said that the Kingdom of Moria and Khazad-dûm, they're counting as one army for the prize.
The faction award, yeah.
God, that is so cheesy.
Cheesy bear.
Well, it's because in the book they're down as Kingdom of Khazad-dûm as the same faction.
Now, I didn't actually put this list in, but the King of the Dead that's there, it's a pure Dead of Dunharrow list. And Vince, I think you would have liked that one. It was like 38 ghosts at 700.
Yeah, actually,
I
think that one may trip up some people.
Yeah, for sure.
What banner did it have? I can't.
Do you want me to have a quick look?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was the Might banner because he's just gone King of the Dead and a Herald, so obviously it's very low on Might. So
see, I'd have been really tempted to go to fight value, and then you have fight value 4.
Yeah.
Now we are going to be looking at a list that's taken the fight value banner, and I won't say that because we haven't looked at the banner stats yet. So
do you want to know? Like the final Angmar list is actually hilarious.
What is it?
So Berda is the leader, and then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cave trolls, and then like a bunch of like wild wargs and wild chieftains and a couple of barrow whites. Like,
that's a James Noble list right there.
That is hard.
No, it's hard.
That's hard.
And he's gone for the Icon of Valor as well. So his trolls are immune to magic.
But he's going to get shot to shit.
Yeah.
If he faces them.
Let him cook.
Do you think you got a bunch of wargs you can just put in front of your cave trolls?
Sure.
I guess one thing we should maybe talk about. So, with the scenarios, how many of those would we say lean pretty heavily into shooting?
Well, to the death and Lord's will. Divide and conquer, you kind of need to go to the middle.
Yeah, you have to get to me. Recon
Oh.
depends on how quick
Recon
you cover the
depends on
board.
them, yeah, and
Yeah.
and the matchup sort of thing. So 3, maybe 4 of them.
Fog of War is a bit of
Fog
everything.
of War can be as well, like
Yeah.
with a 12-inch deployment. So
I'd say 3. 3 of them, half of them probably benefit
Yeah.
for shooting. Yeah, so a substantial
quite
amount.
heavily, I'd say, and then maybe 1 or 2 others that, depending on the matchup, like if you've got terrible shooting, it could play a fair amount into it. So I think a fair amount of the scenarios, shooting is quite important for this event. And I think that's why you're seeing so much blinding light with Galadriel and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lots of those Mordor lists probably have the Shadow Lord, which we may come on to in a little bit. So yeah, any more thoughts about the leader breakdown though before we move on for anyone? No? Okay, we will move on then to looking at the stats for the banners. So for the audio listener, there are 40 people taking the Might banner to the event. So how many
Wow.
is it, Ali? Is it just over 60?
No, it will be 69. Although you're missing.
Oh!
69. What?
So I think I'm missing maybe 3 or 4 lists from this
Yeah.
pool or something.
That's really surprising. I didn't think it'd be that many.
40 people taking the Might banner, so a huge
I thought
proportion
there'd
of
be
everyone
way
going.
more blinding light.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more blinding light. But I suppose
Um,
if you got Galadriel and the Shadow Lord, I guess you don't need it, right?
So then
I thought the Isenguards.
in second place, then with 7 people choosing to take the +1 fight banner, then with 5 people taking the fearless banner and the blinding light one, with 1 person taking the fortify spirit banner, which is a
Two.
Gil-galad list. Oh, what's the other one? Do you know?
There's the cave trot ones taking the fortify.
Oh, that
spirit
one.
banner.
Oh, of course, yeah. And then 0 people have decided to take the Harbrunga banner. So that's the only one that no one has decided to take. But yes, 40 people taking the Might one. And what I was going to say a moment ago is that I think if you're taking the +1 fight banner, as not many people have taken it, I think a lot of people were maybe scared off of taking that by, you take it and then you're still not higher fight value than your opponent. But as not many people have taken it, I think there maybe is a chance for the people that have taken it to do, better than they maybe thought, as there isn't much of it around.
I mean, yes and no. Like in theory, yes, but I mean, people that have taken the Might banner are going to charge on their heroes and go, okay, I'm going to strike. All right, strike. Okay, Might back, I'm going to strike, and they don't give a shit. So,
fair, yeah, but it doesn't always go that easily.
Oh yeah, but
like strike, you roll a 4 high, you have to spend my whatever, but then maybe your line that is usually tied fight with your opponent is now outfighting them, and suddenly if you're say a strength 4 army or something, or your front or back line is strength 4 at least, your troops may be doing a lot better than they usually would, and if depending on the matchups, just you could run into that maybe more often than I think those people might have been expecting before the event.
It makes the biggest difference for armies that are strength, armies that are fight 4 base, I think, going up to 5, because
I was thinking about the Mordor ones,
Yeah, because any army that's naturally strength 5 is strength 5, sorry, fight 5 is strength 3, realistically. So any of the Ministerials with Boromir, the elves, obviously Thranduil has +1 to wound and stuff involved, but fight 4
fight
list,
6.
yeah, fight 4 list, then have access to strength 4 through like Black Lambs and Rhinos and stuff. So that's actually going to be a big difference.
Or Vault Warden teams.
Or Voldem teams.
Or maybe 12 Vault Warden teams going with a fight 5 banner.
Ooh.
Or +1 fight banner.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think people may be scared off of that, but now not many people have taken it. But I guess you do still have the possibility of running into one of the 7 loft lists. Like there are a lot of them going. There's 2 Halls of Grandeur ones, so there's going to be a fair amount of fight 6 ones there, some Rivendell's as well with Gil-galad. So there's still a fair amount of it around this event.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the banners or the lack thereof?
No,
Pretty obvious. Might is the best thing in the game.
Best thing in
It's
the
not
game.
though.
Why are 40 people taking
think
it, Ali?
Yeah.
so. If I was going, I probably wouldn't have taken the might banner. I think
Because
Army would you have been
love
taking?
taking things that aren't that good.
no, but so might is an easy backup, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think it enhances the armies necessarily, but it gives you redundancy.
Yeah.
Which
I've got
is
in my list a little sneak preview. I've got 11 might natural, which for 700 is still a lot of might. So it's can you get away with that and then give a big boost to a list to cover up one of its weaknesses?
So I would have. So if I was actually playing at the event, I would go with a model with Master of Battle to counter the might, and then take a different banner.
Yeah. Now, there's some people that have taken a model with Master of Battle, but then they've still taken the might banner.
Yeah,
which is for this extra redundancy.
Which I think is double dipping, and I possibly would have gone for something else.
Can you explore? Yeah. So, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Yeah. So, anyway, okay, we are going to move on then to talking about some of the lists. So we will come on to our lists a little bit later on, but to kick things off, we are going to look at one of the 7 Lothlorien lists that is going to the event. So it is led by Galadriel, of course, who is leading 9 Warriors with Shield, 3 with Bone Spear, 1 with the King's Colours. So I've just put that it's a normal banner, but it's the King's Colours with Shield and Spear, 2 Guard of the Galadriel Court, 2 Wood Elves with Bow and Spear, and a Wood Elf Sentinel. Then we've got a Galadriel Captain with Shield leading 6 Warriors with Shield, 2 with Bow and Spear, 2 Guard of the Galadriel Court, and 2 Wood Elf Warriors with Bow and Spear. And then we have Haldir with Heavy Armor and Bow leading 1 Warrior with Shield, 2 with Spear, and 2 Knights with Bow and Shield. So 700 points, 38 models is pretty good. 13 bows. Now that's how many bows are in the list, but then Haldir gets his 2 shots. So you've basically got 14 shots. And 8 might, but there's an asterisk there because they have taken the might banner. So he's put the captain in, so you get the free march. It's maybe not something you see all the time with Loth, but you get the free march. So it's really worth doing with the might banner. So any thoughts on this one?
This is Denby, right?
We don't say names on the thing anymore.
Okay. I know it. I know it.
Why I left it out. So
I know it's him. So that's fair enough.
So I personally would have gone Rumil or Orphan over Haldir. I think
there was one that did go with Orphan. I saw.
Yeah, I don't think you need the strike if you've got the might banner is the correct one, I think, to go for with an army like this because you're fairly low might. But because of where you can then actually quite freely channel immobilize, you can half the fight value of enemy heroes, so you don't actually need the strike. And Haldir's rubbish and dies all the time in combat anyway. Yeah. So
I think the channeled spells are gonna be pretty insane this event.
Yeah.
A lot of magic. So
so I would have probably gone for Rumil, I think, because of the reroll 6s and heroic defense. But I also kind of like Orphan just as a troop killer. But other than that, it's pretty.
How many points is Haldir in comparison?
Aren't they all roughly the same points?
They're roughly the same. Yeah. So maybe you swap it out. Yeah, but I mean, it's got everything. It's got 4 Guard of the Galadriel Court. Yeah, he's got 2 cav in there with Bow as well. I think to get up to 38 models, he's had to find some points somewhere. So he's taken some Wood Elves. He can't have everything be a Galadriel warrior. So, but that's okay. I guess you're up to 38 models, which is really, really solid. It is worth probably saying that obviously every list that takes the King's colours will essentially save 25 points. So usually, you wouldn't get this list up to 38 models most likely with everything that he's included. So
would people mount the captain? Because doesn't the Galadriel captain get fleet of foot, so he could charge through woods and stuff like that?
Maybe.
Probably would.
I'm not sure what else I think he wants to get to 38 models for elves.
Yeah, no, it's probably
which is really good. But then what else do you strip away to get that? Maybe you drop a cav. I think having 2 is pretty good. You've got recon.
I mean, it's not necessarily a wrong or right thing.
Yeah. It's like, what else can you strip away to get it? I'm not sure.
I don't think losing the 1 model is the end of the world, though, either.
Also gives them that killing power for the compelled heroes.
Yeah. It takes away your, it would lower your breakpoint by 1 if you drop a model, but
Yeah, but
I think you can drop
37
a cav though.
elves isn't bad actually at
no,
700
it's still
or
good.
675 if you want to see it that way.
Yeah.
I think you drop the cav because I mean they're there for objectives realistically, and like what
There aren't. Yeah, I thought about that. There
really
aren't
scenarios
many.
that are based on that apart from recon. But then if you spam March with your captain,
I mean, you've got
that's fairly
fog of
good.
war where you might want to fake to a terrain piece, and then having 2 cav is maybe more useful for that. You can do that with troops as well.
The captain is still a cav.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, the captain you could turbo boost and recon with.
Yeah.
Breakthrough as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I like it. It's
a good list. It is
elves
really
with
solid.
6-inch banner are always going to be a
Mm.
good choice. I think they benefit. They're one of the armies that benefit more from the banner radius. Just
Now,
so.
I mentioned earlier where there was one list I saw that took a normal banner as well, so paid the 25 points for it, and that was a lost list as well, with 34 models, Galadriel and Celeborn, with the
Interesting.
2 banners. So it's by a very good player as well. So
I feel like a 6-inch banner would hit a 34 model list anyway. I mean, I guess if you just want another banner in case people do go for, Sorcerer's Blast and hurling it over, it gives
I mean,
still
I guess
banner
with the
pool in it.
extra banner, you're going to have it on literally everything. Like there won't be any fringe
I mean,
fights.
6 inches is going to cover everything. That
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. Six is big enough anyway.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Anyway, let's go
Elliot
to
wouldn't know,
this one.
but should we move on?
Sam definitely starts to sweat.
So we are going to move on to a Angmar list that we foreshadowed earlier. So this is a 44 model list led by the Witch King, of course, on his horse with the Crown of Morgul, who is 3-14-3, who is leading 8 orcs with shield, 8 with spear, 1 with banner and spear, obviously the banner being the king's colours, and 1 Denmark Spectre. Then the second warband is led by a shade with 6 orcs with shield and 6 with spear. Then the third warband is led by Berda, Sam's favourite model, leading 3 orcs with shield, 2 with spear, and 2 Denmark Spectres. This is definitely more Spectres than Sam likes as well. And then the third warband led by a orc captain on Warg, leading 3 Warg riders with shield. So 44 models, 0 bows, but an asterisk because Berda's throw stone. Come on.
It's not a bow.
It's a throwing weapon. And
It's not even
8 might. 8 might base, and this list has taken the blinding light one. So what do we think about this one?
Is this Curtis?
No.
We're not talking about names anymore. Let's stop.
Oh, okay.
New policy.
So it's worth mentioning, assuming this is the list, all of those orcs are armed with axes as well. So
yes, I even made a note to mention that, Ali.
yeah. So the shade means you are pretty much for roughly 8 turns going to be automatically higher fight value is the way I tend to look at it. So it's kind of a smart way to counter the fight value banners.
Yep.
Obviously, blinding light means that your D5 isn't such a big issue at range and you don't get shot off the board. It's not actually as strong magic-wise as a lot of Angmar is. You've only got the Witch King. There's no Barrow Whites, having opted for the Captain, which I'm guessing for the slight combat stuff and to have March. But I don't know whether I would have gone for the Captain and Warg, considering you've got the Blinding Light banner. I don't.
I quite like, depending on the matchup, a reason he might have done it is so that in recon you can slingshot off the cav with the march.
That's my only thought on it, but
yeah,
like we mentioned in the previous list, is there enough scenarios that
can exploit it, and it is 10 points, and you've still got 3 cav in there. I guess it isn't like the Loth one where you only have 2, so like you've already got 3 wild riders.
Just because paralyze, if you paralyze a King's Colors banner, that could be a real like pain in the ass for someone because you've not killed it, so it's stuck on the floor until someone rolls a 6. So that's why I think I would have gone for the Barrow White personally.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I'm guessing that Orc Warrior with a banner isn't like an extra banner. It's the King's Colors, right?
I did
Yeah.
say that when I was reading out the list. Yeah.
Did you? So I blanked out then.
Yeah, and I guess as well, kind of it only has the 6-inch kind of coverage of the Terror. You know, you usually
Yeah,
see that be higher with Angmar at this high points, but
yeah. I think it's a very smartly built list. Like someone's like looked and taken advantage of the rules pack.
yeah.
Um, the main weakness is going to be the same weakness I think Angmar always has, which is you're still just a fighting line of orcs, and with only 44 models, you're not
Yeah.
outnumbering, and Birder and Witch King are your only real sort of combat threats, and
And
they
not
both can go down quite easily.
yeah, you don't have the usual big threat in Gulliver that most Angmar lists
Yeah.
tend to have.
And the one thing actually to remember with the Shade, well, I hope if I let other people talk, is you enemy heroes who roll a 6 will go down to a 5 obviously to win the combat. But with all their might banners, they can probably quite freely go, I'll use a point of might to bump that back up to a 6, win the combat and still do the damage. So
Yeah.
this list will either, I think, win the event or go 4-2. I think that's the only options really with this one.
If this was before all the other lists were, submitted, I would look at this list and say it's good. Like, it is very good. I probably would have put shields on the spears, but I mean, I guess if you're thinking that it's going to be a strength 3 dominant with elves, difference of strength 4 and 5 doesn't matter, or strength 4 D4 and 5. But the amount of Galadriel Witch Kings
Yeah.
makes the shade not as good.
Also a crazy number of Wood Elf Sentinels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Well, we've seen that only in one
Because
list
it's
so
Courage
far.
1, right?
yes, it is.
It
So
is going to have to
yeah.
use some of its will to resist, probably.
you're gonna have to, because the people are gonna have a Witch King and Shadow Lord, or quite a few of them in their mortal lists, and then you're gonna have Galadriel Sentinel,
Because
and then
they've FAQ'd the shade to be active, haven't they?
yeah, it's active. So
Yeah.
with the amount of list going, I could see a world where that shade doesn't do a lot the whole tournament, depending on how their matchups go, and that it needs to do something because this is only orcs.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a feast or famine. I think you're
Yeah,
either
that's
win really really easily or get shit on. So it'll be interesting to see. I think I like the captain personally because in recon, if you didn't take that captain, I mean you'd still have the 3 Warg Riders, but I mean a few bows at the back of the board can kind of prevent you from getting off the board freely with that. And because you don't have any flying capability, you're not guaranteed to get
but
stuff off
then
the board.
on the flip side in Fog of War, you're going to struggle not to concede points for
Yeah,
a hero
I
being
probably would have given him
targeted.
a shield for that exact reason.
Yeah, but I mean, if you took a barrel white, they would just black dart your barrel white if you're playing against Witch King. So it's
Not every game is against Witch King, Sam. I know there's 14 of them.
if you have 14 of them, some
Yeah,
people are
there's
thinking
still
dominates.
other rates.
Us
that
Shadow
can-
Lords,
yeah.
there's a lot of magic.
Evil magic.
Yeah, and I'm assuming this is taken by a competitive player that's good at the game. And
This is a very
No,
good
Elliot's
player.
not taking this list.
oh, okay, that's a shame.
Obviously.
So I'm imagining they're gonna play people that are Witch King, Shadow Lord, Galadriels. So
But
Probably.
then this will probably beat the Isengard list going quite
yes,
easily.
yeah.
So
There's a lot of them.
it'll be avoid the like usual, avoid one list and hit the other list.
Matchup dependent, yeah. As
Yeah.
the game is,
Yeah.
Welcome to MESBG.
Most of
Yeah, but Ali's put that on steroids.
Yes.
Love that. Okay. So that is going to do it for this Angmar list. Moving on then, we have a Erebor reclaimed list, which is led by Dane on his warboard. He is leading 5 Iron Hills Dwarves with shield, 4 with shield and spear, 1 with the King's colours, a shield and a spear, and 3 Iron Hills Dwarves with crossbow. Then the second warband is led by Gloin, leading 4 with shield and spear, and 2 with crossbow, And then we have Biffa leading 4 with shield spear, and 2 with crossbow. So it's 36 models at 700 points, which is pretty good. 7 bows with the crossbows, which is pretty good. 8 might base, but you don't get the Master of Battle because Dane isn't in Erebor Reclaimed. But you do have Biffa there for the free move once you kill someone. And this list has decided to take the +1 fight banner, which I thought was very interesting because now you have a bunch of fight 5 Iron Hills dwarves, which is pretty legit. So what do we think?
It's good.
Ali is giving his thumbs up as the main dwarf player on the channel, I would say.
So what dwarves are generally fairly resilient to, so the main meta being crossbows going around a lot at the moment. D7 kind of fixes your crossbow issue, so for the most part, not completely, but you're pretty resistant to it. If you're thinking loads of people can take the might banner, if you take Biffa, you get 3 heroic moves anyway.
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, so assuming you headbutt someone, but with a fight 5 spear support, you should be able to do that. Gloin's just very killy. Dane also counters on the other big meta things at the moment, which is terror of all the Black Numenorians and the Angmar on that, and so everyone auto passes courage within 12 inches.
So I guess that is the thinking behind not taking Thorin, I assume.
Yeah, you could possibly take.
Like, why else? I think,
Um,
like, I'm not sure what the other reason would be.
Yeah, I mean, model cat, you could go for one instead of Gloin and then drop it to like 33, 32-ish models. But
isn't Thorin cheaper than Dane though as well by a fair amount? So if you go with Thorin, you save some points.
25.
yeah, but you don't get the auto pass courage.
Yes. So like you can go up to 38 models, you get free right combat, but you lose the
And
fearless.
also, Thorin's not that good at killing heroes or stuff like that. So he's certainly no Dane.
No.
So yeah, I think this is quite smart. The only sort of main weakness is Dane's your only march and you don't have any cav.
Yeah.
Which you can probably get away with it, as we've mentioned, because of the scenarios, but that is a thing to bear in mind. But
you're not too worried about maybe running towards your opponent anyway, because you're really offense,
it's just divide and conquer. You have to use a point of might from Dane to get yourself up the board. And actually, because of divide and conquer, I probably would have loaded out Dane's warband and maybe Biffa or Gloin's warband to max, just so you could really load one side of the board to be within range of that heroic march. But that's more nitpicking.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really, really solid taking the +1 fight. Like, this might not run into that much that outfights it over this weekend.
No, the only thing that will outfight it will be like the Lothlorien list with some fight 6, and you're there going.
Say it only plays one first or second game, and then it's a fight dwarf line outfighting everything. Like,
and at that point, it's there going. The Lothlorien list was what, 38 models, and it's there. Cool, wounding me 6 on 4s in combat. I wound you on 5s backwards. So it is, and that's even. Was it only 4 Guard of the Gladium Court? And,
4 in that one.
Yeah, so it's not even across all the combats really.
Yeah, when you're tying the fights with the elves. Yeah.
No, I very much like this list, and it would be similar-ish to something that I would probably consider taking.
Yeah, I do think it's really good. Any thoughts from anyone else?
Do you think you should have taken a Goat Rider?
I personally probably would have dropped it to 34 models and put 2 Goat Riders in.
Yeah, I think that's
just me.
Right?
It's not essential. It's just nice to have for like Fog of War or things like Recon, just that little bit extra speed.
You also are a fan of Iron Hills Captain. Would you have taken one of those for the Master Battle and the Mark? You don't have to spend it with Dane.
I quite like Gloin.
You'd have to take Gloin out, so yeah.
Yeah. These aren't really wrong options. They're alternatives, the way that I would say it.
Yeah.
Although, actually, if I was the other version, if I was to take the captain, I would go pure Iron Hill, so Dane gets a 4+ Master Battle as well.
Yeah.
And you're taking the captain, like 2 captains then possibly.
I think taking Biffa is a really, big part of this list where it counteracts the might.
Although that would be funny. Have we got an Iron Hills list coming up?
No.
Because there is one Iron Hills list going. But,
Yes, I know the one
um,
you're referring to.
but yeah, because with all the might going around, if you had 3 or 4 models, I did it to Sam in some practice games once. Having loads of models with Master of Battle is hilarious when you've got 3 heroics and things like that going around.
Contest of Champions against my Survivors of Lake Town. I've got Bard and it's not very cool when you've
Bard
got Dane
and
on.
Foreign.
Yeah,
And then I'm
sorry.
there going, rolling 5 pluses left, right, and centre.
It's like, is it worth it? Yeah, I'll call a free combat. Fail, fail, fail. It just
And then,
gets it.
yeah.
So Sam or James, any thoughts about the list?
I like it. I think I just would have sacked off Biff as Warband in Divide and Conquer, or sacked off Gloin's Warband in Divide and Conquer, and put 4 models into Dane and Gloin's Warband, or Biff as Warband, whoever you're second off. Like Ali said, but apart from that, and I think in Recon, I think you do need Goat Riders. I think Recon, the fact is, it
Even
is
just one, it's a threat, isn't it? Yeah, that they've got.
especially if you're not taking the Might Banner where you can't infinitely march.
So there'd be a reason not to take the Might Banner in this list, and it's because Dane doesn't share the keyword with the other heroes. So it'd only be Dane who would get the benefit.
That does stink.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if you, I would take 2 Go Riders just because if you don't have the luxury of infinitely marching, and Recon being one of them, you then, I mean, you're playing defensive with, I guess you do have 7 crossbows. You can maybe slingshot Dane off. It depends, but it'd be tricky.
I think
Yeah,
it's the right amount of crossbows, to be honest. It's there
Yeah.
going, you accept you won't outshoot some armies and they'll have blinding light, but also gives you enough punch for those who don't have shooting themselves.
When you need it. Yeah.
yeah.
I am a little bit disappointed that I'm not going to get a practice game before this event, because I would like to at least try using my King's colours one time, so I'm not just.
I thought you were implying this was your army then. I was like,
thought
since
you
when
were
did you
playing
have
on-
Iron Hills?
I thought you were
No
playing on
wonder
Friday
you
night.
had that.
What's that, Vince?
I thought you were playing Sam on.
Yeah, we're probably going to go out bowling. The boys are coming over, and yeah, we're going to go play bowling.
Bowling.
Oh, actually, segue. People on the channel, Ash would be doing this right now, so I've got
You
to
would.
fill his
Yeah,
boots.
on channel it.
Mr. James Goble has claimed the title
Is he?
as the Bowling King.
Bowling
He has
King.
on the week. Was it? Yeah, it was on Friday, wasn't it?
It was on Friday.
James has defeated my record of 168,
That's
and
fine.
he's got himself a 171 bowl.
Come on.
Let's go, James.
round
What-
for
Let's
the other.
go.
Wasn't there someone in the chat though who really like shout on you when you like last sort of talked
I
about
think
your
there was
record?
someone. Yeah, there was
He
someone.
was like,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah, my
what?
record's like 200 or something."
Yeah.
Clearly not the best bowlers in
SVG.
GBHL, but
Well,
we like
listen to
to,
Chad.
yeah, big up to James.
What did you guys do on the Saturday night? After that,
Went for a curry and
Ashes to Ashes.
yeah.
Oh, and then we play loads of Yahtzee.
Oh, we played
Oh.
Yahtzee.
Love it. Okay, that's going to do it for this list. So we will move on
Just
to
like mine.
starting to talk about our list. So James, would you like to run through it for the audio listener, please?
I thought you said we weren't doing names.
Whoa. If it doesn't say my name on
Oh,
Why is James's
Yes.
name not on this?
Because there's not 2 people on the page, that's why.
yeah.
Oh,
This isn't what the viewers see, Sam.
Yeah.
I told you this.
Right.
yeah, I forgot you
So,
do your
people.
whole post edit.
Oh,
Great.
effort. Oh,
People, I have Halls of Thranduil. We have Thranduil as the leader. He has his extra sword, the circlet, and heavy armor. We got 3 Palace Guard with shield, 4 with spear and shield. Then we have a Palace Guard with the King's colours, which is the Might one, whichever one that's called. He's got a spear and a shield. Then we've got 4 Mirkwood Elves with shield and 4 Mirkwood Elves with bow and glaive. The second warband is led by Palace Guard Captain with a shield, 5 Mirkwood Elves with shield, 5 Mirkwood Elves with bow and glaive, and then the last warband we have Legolas on a horse with 2 Mirkwood Cavalry. It's 31 models, which I totally wrote 32 when I submitted it. But I wrote in like 30 seconds in a rush.
told
'cause I didn't realise
James,
the deadline date was.
because when I was putting his list into Lonely Night, I was like, "This is only 31 models," and then on Longshanks was 32. I'm like, I think he wanted that to be 30.
I'd also messed up the numbers of each warband. I had them all wrong.
But writing it out is way better. Ah,
It is.
It is when you don't do it in 30 seconds.
You wrote Ash's list out and got it said, oh, it's 1 point over. And then it's written on it.
I knew you were going to
Folded
say
it.
that. You just got baited, mate. So what do you
Yeah,
think?
so
I feel
the
like I
theory
should
behind this list is I get fight 6, so I'm not that bothered if people take the fight value banner.
Yeah.
I've got the march for the shooting, and I can also use the 3-pointer mic for Legolas's 2+ to take out scary things.
That's really good. Really, really good.
Were you tempted to take the Habringer banner?
I was not at all tempted to take the Hobonga.
Vince, you have started something here, mate.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything.
No, really shouldn't have.
The hamburger banner would have been pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Oh. Yeah, the might banner for leggies 2 up for all like the Witch King horses and stuff is insane.
It's not even just the Witch
No,
King
you just go
horses
for
when
the
you've
Witch
got that
King.
much fighting. The Witch King is pretty vulnerable
Yeah.
to a free might leggy.
That was my thinking
James,
exactly.
are you going to go for the Witch King first, or are you just going to go for the horse?
I'm not giving away my genius tactics.
Okay.
He's
But
going to
yes,
go
I
for the
probably will be
orc
going
next to
for
the
the
Witch
Witch
King.
Probably will be going for the Witch King. Turn 1, he shoots
Yeah.
the horse.
But to be fair, no, I wouldn't go for the horse turn 1 anyway.
No.
Like, there's not much benefit to do that. You may as well go for the Witch King and drain
As well
potentially
as if
his.
people don't have blinding light, you can call like a free heroic accuracy to get through their line, to get to bows and stuff. Just different options, you know? Free march with captain.
The thing is, you can afford to spend free might with Leggy and just wait a few turns and he'll
Yeah.
regen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Leggy's pretty good. I'm surprised there weren't more really Frangel
Yeah, agreed.
schools
I
going.
was surprised when I only saw 2.
Yeah,
And I'm glad to see there's less blinding light banners than I thought there was going to be.
but that may also mean if you
Sure,
come
there's
up
going to be
against
just like Shadow
Isengard,
Lords and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Shout
you
out to my
may.
girlfriend for a cup of tea. Oh,
That imaginary girlfriend.
Yeah.
If only she existed. You've been.
Well,
You
how
started
did I-
having
kettle.
props around to make it look like.
how did I make it on my own? That is the
That's
question.
cold, mate. You made that an hour ago.
Made it before the pod.
Just so the viewers know, Elliot actually paused the recording, and then
was a
we
10
weren't
minute
sure where he was for 5
and then
minutes.
just came back.
It seemed like I have friends, guys.
Yeah,
Any more thoughts on James's list?
I think if you avoid Isengard, you'll be fine. Model count is a bit low. Probably should have 32
Totally
models.
You should have. He thought he had.
I would have done if I had realised it wasn't 32 models.
What would you be dropping? Is it
I'd have changed some of the palace guards and potentially taken away a couple of the glaives. On
To be fair,
those.
8 palace guards quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's because I thought, why have I got so many extra points? I might as well just put them down because I was missing a model. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, it's because sort of like every list that we're looking at and have looked at has
Yeah.
25 points more to play with. So the model count, like the 38 model loft list, like you wouldn't usually see that really, but everything's bumped
Yeah.
up.
No, 6-inch banner's good for it. Terror is going to be good versus quite a lot of the list, even without the
Oh my god, no one is ever going to say that correctly.
I thought you'd all appreciate, a little bit of education, but
Oh, no. You'd be
I got shut
Have you
down.
watched this podcast before, Vince?
Clearly,
Yeah, I know. Wrong audience.
Vince, you've been
I
on
should have. I should have known. Should have known my audience. It's my bad.
These were the kids who messed around at school, not the ones who listened.
These were the kids. That's a bit sus on this pod. You got to watch out. Sam's around, Ali.
Shut up, mate.
Damn, mate.
Yeah, I think this tournament's going to be very, very matchup dependent. Like you can kind of see it's a bit like rock paper scissors. Like Isengard probably does not want to face like that Iron Hills list, and this probably doesn't want to face Isengard, and yeah, it'll be very matchup dependent.
I think that's the problem where the meta is at the moment because of the way it's very shooting heavy. Shooting armies are always a case of they can dominate the game unless if they face blinding light.
Well, next month, folks, we are getting some kind of reveal, and it better be something pretty big. So
It's going to be another diorama.
And
Please no.
on that note, we will move on from James's list to my list. And so,
Oh, so you give yourself an Ash name, so you don't give Goble a name, though.
no, because this is how it's going to be. James will
I'm
have
just
his
that
name on the
iconic.
actual.
People know
pod.
who I am.
His name will be there. Okay, don't worry. It's just not there for you guys. Okay, I thought you'd be able to put two and two together, but maybe not. So usually we don't spend very long on Ash's Witch King Sully list, but the Witch King plays a big part in this event, as does the Shadow Lord. We have both decided to take it, but slightly differently. So
There's also no Sully.
no Sully, but you still get Witch King's banner. But yeah. So starting with my list, I have the Witch King 3-13-3, leading 2 trackers, 4 Moranas with Shield Spear, 1 Moranan with the King's Colors and a Shield, and 4 Black Nuns. The Shadow Lord leading 3 Wild Riders with Shield. Then I have Guritz leading 3 Orc Trackers, 5 Moranas with Shield Spear, and 4 Black Nuns. And then Gorbag with Shield leading 3 Trackers, 4 Moranas with Shield Spear, and 3 Black Nuns. Then Ash's list, he has the Witch King as well, who's 3-13-2, leading 4 Trackers, 6 Moranas with Shield Spear, 1 with King's Colors, Shield and Spear, and 7 Black Nuns. The Shadow Lord leading 3 Orc Trackers and 1 Wild Rider with no Shield. The Mouth of Sauron on horse, leading 4 Orc Trackers, 3 Moranans with Shield Spear, 2 Moranans with Shield, and 5 Black Nuns. And then Gorbag with a Shield as a solo drop. So we both have 40 models. He has 11 bows, so 11 trackers to my 8. I have 11 might base, I believe, where Ash has 10. I think it's 10. Yeah. And we have both taken the might banner. So I guess I'll briefly talk about my list. So compared to Ash's, I mean, we've both got up to 40 models. He has fit in the mouth where I haven't, but I didn't really think I need the extra transfix. Obviously, that isn't all that the mouth brings, but Ash has had to sacrifice certain things in order to fit in the mouth. So he only has 1 Wild Rider. He's had to sacrifice a point of fate on the Witch King. And what was the other thing? What was the big thing? I can't remember what the big thing was. I've lost my train of thought. He's had to put in more trackers. That was the other thing. He's had to put in more trackers. So he's got 11 trackers, where usually a Witch King Sully list, I think 11 is on the high side. The max you usually see is 9, maybe 10. So having 11 D3 models just isn't something I really wanted to do. So, he saved a lot of points by doing those things in order to fit in the mouth.
Why Gertz, though?
So you get the +1 for recon. I've been screwed many times just with not rolling to come onto the board. So,
but do you not think with the might banner you can just might that? Can you might in recon? Actually, I can't remember. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
You can
Yeah,
still
you can
might
recon,
with the
just can.
warband to come on. Yeah, but you're
I never do it because
It's like saying why would you have to spend might in Maelstrom?
Yeah, Ali,
because it says in Maelstrom you can.
But you get the +1.
Someone fact check that.
I don't think it does, buddy. I think it's just like a might reinforcement.
No, I think it does because otherwise you can't.
It does actually.
So we're putting Ali up against the aliens, and he doesn't know that.
But does it say it though?
Space Jam, shout out any
that.
Does it say it for recon?
Yeah, I'm not. You can might in
You
recon.
can.
You
You can.
Of course you can. Yeah.
Just for integrity, I think
believes
someone
he
should
doesn't know
check
that.
it before we.
I'll check it. You guys keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've also got 3 Wild Riders, which is
Yes, I get 3 Wild Riders for recon. So if I can get all 3 off the board, I get my 7 VPs. Where Ash probably isn't going to get 3 models off the board unless he gets right up with the march, and then he can sneak some troops off. But yeah, I like having the 3 Wild Riders. And just with Gurrit, so I have 11 might base plus the 3, where say Lothless, for example, have 8. So I want to have a fair amount of more natural might to begin with. A downside is that I do have Gurrit and Gorbag for Fog of War, who are both quite weak heroes. I do have 2 Wraiths to try and save them. What does it say? They can spend might?
Yeah.
Ali King not knowing the fucking scenario rules.
No, it's just worth checking. I thought it was,
more like Jester.
I don't know if it's just me with these lists. However, I feel like mainly, or especially, I don't really know. I feel like the warbands are sorted in a weird way.
So I can justify mine. So I essentially wanted to have the march. So for Divide and Conquer, I'm essentially going to have the Witch King with Guritz on one side of the board. Those are a bit more lopsided in terms of how many models there are, because I'm going to march them to the middle as quick as possible. And I've got
Surely you fit more into the Witch King then, if you want to do that.
yeah, but I don't want to have the Shadow Lord and Gore. Like, I don't want that to just be nothing and it just gets killed mega easy. I don't want Gorbag to just be completely on his own. Say like I don't know how Ash would split his. I mean, he'd have the Witch King, I guess, with the mouth, so that's being marched up, and then you've got the Shadow Lord and Gorbag just on their own. So Gorbag is basically gonna be walking out the board with 3 Orc trackers.
Yeah, but like that means you have 34 models in the center where
yeah, but I've still got a fair amount, I think. And I'd have 25 models in the middle. I'd have the Shadow Lord with the Wild Riders come over as well. I think I still end up with a lot.
What I would do, I don't normally do this, I'd actually load up the non like the march side in Divide and Conquer warbands with the trackers and put your actual fighting troops in the other warbands.
And that's not getting marched to the middle, no?
they
Well,
just
no,
seem
the fighting troops are, but the trackers aren't.
Oh, you're saying the fighting troops are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like all of Ash's Black Nums will be in the center straight away.
Yeah.
Yours won't.
Not all of them. Yeah. I guess I didn't want to have, one side be far weaker that could just be, Gorbag just gets killed, and then you're like, oh, I've just lost my hero for nothing.
But then at the same time, I understand what you mean, but like obviously their army is also going towards the center, so they don't have an option to go just kill Gorbag for free.
No, of course, but like he could just get isolated, and then he doesn't. I can't use his might. Like
You got the might banner. I see where you're coming from.
But then he as well, sort of, I guess, with his little contingent, can maybe threaten one of the side objectives.
Yeah.
Like, I think I still have enough in the middle. I've still got my 8 nums. I'll have all my cav, both wraiths. Like, I think I've still got enough to hunker down on the middle, and then I've got a small little contingent to maybe threaten one of the side objectives.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing to see. I don't think there's much really to.
I don't think Gorbag's an odd choice as a solo drop.
Yeah, I've never seen him do it before. I don't.
Must be for the Shadow Lord would be a better model to solo drop than Gorbag would.
And like, I also don't like the Shadow Lord with the 3 Orc trackers and the Warg. Yeah.
It's like Gorbag, you put in front of either someone's hero or just in like a good line position. It's not really something you can do if you put them down first.
I can see the Shadow
Lord.
Lord.
It doesn't really matter where he goes because he's on a horse. He's going to be running around.
I can see the Shadow Lord being a better solo drop.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have gone for 11 trackers. I'd have just reduced the model count a bit.
I just think 11 trackers is too many.
Much.
Yeah. 40 models.
I didn't want to do it. I think it was because he just really wanted to have the mouth because he's won all his GBHL 100s with the mouth.
I know, but I mean, you can do that, but I just wouldn't go as many trackers.
It's just when you take the Shadow Lord, like, you've got to sacrifice, because the Shadow Lord is more points than Suladan, and to fit in the mouth as well. I'm not sure you need him that much compared to.
Well, we didn't have to go Gorbag if you really wanted the model count.
Yeah.
Because bearing in mind you got the might banner anyway, I probably would drop Gorbag, just have the 3, and then just bulk out the warbands a bit more elite.
Yeah, the thought kind of with Guritz as well is that I guess there's going to be probably a fair amount of channels, compels and things going around where you half the fight value. So he is strength 5 and can pierce to strength 6. Can he go to?
I thought you had after I mentioned it in the episode.
Did you say that earlier on?
Yeah, guys, it's not
I totally missed you saying that. Well, you totally can do that. Can he go 2 hand?
Yeah,
he can. Yeah, so he can hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I don't really like Gorbag in either these lists. I think more guys. I think I would have preferred that.
There are only 40 models as well, and obviously a really big part of the Mordor list is having the army bonus, and
yeah,
you getting that is an issue.
I think in Ashes, I probably would have just dropped Gorbag and boosted the quality / model count.
This is probably a good time to talk about what I alluded to earlier, where because we won't see the list now in the episode, but a number of people have taken Mordor lists which are Witch King with the Shadow Lord, but then they have only taken 1/3 hero, which is Gothmog. So and they can max out the warband, so they get the Master of Battle like we were talking about earlier. Does anyone want to give their thoughts on that sort of
I
build?
think that's the smart kind of list that John Partridge came up with. Sort of like I'm mainly saying that to wind Farmer up because they're both pretty much taking the same list. But John got his list in first, so it was clearly his idea. But yeah, no.
Armor on any heroics? What?
But it basically covers the bases like this does. But then you've also got the counter might we've got Gothmog, who also gives you other bonuses like the reroll wounds with orcs and hatred man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's actually not bad in combat, and he's got heroic defense, march,
Yeah, the march
strike, all of these.
I think the march is really a big
things.
thing because everyone has tried to fit in march this event, like the Loth list taking the captain, you know, the Angmar list doing the same. Like, I think you need march. The fact that you get it built into your third hero allows you to take the double wraith. Because usually Witch King Sully would have march through Suladan. So
I think that the Gothmog version is the version I think's better than these two.
Ash did think about taking Gothmog, but again, he can't play the game without the Mouth Sauron, so he took the Mouth Sauron.
He can barely play it with this year.
I don't know. Do we think 700 points is a little bit low for like all of these heroes?
I think the reason why is because of the Shadow Lord. It's just
yeah, exactly. So if you want the
just...
Witch King and the Shadow Lord, and then you want a Marcher and you want a whatever support hero, you kind of just I don't know. Don't know if it's 700 points. It's if
700. I think is 3 heroes with this list.
Yeah,
but even then, Gothmog's quite expensive, and then if you add in.
But I think how many models did they have, Ali, with those ones? It was higher than 40. Well, I thought it was higher than that.
But John's got 38.
Was it 38? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, for the Mortal Army bonus.
But then 9 of them are trackers. So
yeah,
it's
38
kind of like
with 9 trackers.
It's like when you say 38, it's kind of like artificially high because we kind of don't really count trackers, do we?
As well, I mean, this is 40 models, but considering, like I mentioned, that lists have 25 extra points to play with, so average model count may be slightly higher compared to usual.
Yeah.
So 40 models for the army bonus maybe isn't that great. So yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I think it played well. It could still do well.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay, moving on. Next, we have Vince's Isengard list and Ben Haslam's Isengard list as well. So, Vince, did you want to run through yours for the audio listener, and I'll run through Ben's?
Yeah. So I've got Saruman on horse, 4 Uruk-hai crossbow, 2 with shield, 5 with pike, 1 Warg Rider with shield, throwing spears, and 1 Crebain. And then we've got Vrasku with 4 crossbows, 2 shield, 5 pikes, and then we've got Gorolf with 4 crossbows, 2 shield, 5 pikes again.
Yeah.
That's 38 models.
38.
And which banner?
The Blinding Light banner.
The Blinding Light one. Okay. And then Ben also has the Blinding Light banner, but his list is led by Lurtz, leading 6 with crossbow, 4 with pike. Why is there 4 with pike and then 1 with pike underneath? Is that because it has the banner, I'm thinking?
Yeah, probably.
On there. Yeah, okay. Then 1 bomb team with the Flaming Brand and 1 Crebain. Then he has Vrasku leading 4 with crossbow, 8 with pike. An Orc captain on foot, no shield or anything, leading 1 with crossbow and 2 with pike. And then he has 2 ballistas as well. Do you have the list there in front of you, Ali? How many models?
Yeah. How many models is it? 39 models.
39, and that's the Blinding Light banner as well. So he's got double that and a bar.
And I can confirm that random 1 Uruk-hai warrior is the King's Colour one.
It is. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was meant to put a banner on that. So these are the 2 Isengard lists that the boys are taking. Any thoughts on these ones?
Well, both have got lemon mobility with their Crebain. So
I find it really interesting that we've both gone like very different routes.
What model counts your one, Vince?
38.
So
similar.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah. But he's just got more siege stuff, doesn't he?
So he's gone more into the shooting. You've got more stuff going on, basically.
Yeah, I just think
I'd say Ben with the stuff going on.
Oh, he's got the demo team as well, doesn't he? I completely missed
Yeah,
that.
it's got the bomb team and 2 ballistas. That's
But
nuts.
Saruman is
Of course.
Yeah, I just think Saruman,
box of
if he
tricks.
does what he's supposed to do, I think he could be very, very useful in a lot of my games. Um, especially because the banner is so important. If you can like lock it down or stop it doing what people plan for it to do, yeah, that's the thinking behind it anyway. But I know he's very expensive, and
Yeah.
it's if it doesn't go right, I can see the line kind of struggling a little bit against the more elite forces. But
So, how do we think these lists would do against like the Blinding Light Mordors or Lothlorians or
see, I
like
still
Angmar?
think that. So I think we both have the same kind of thinking. We both just want to definitely outshoot. So even against Blinding Light, like even against like Shadow Lord, Loth, we're still happy to engage and shoot.
You're still outshoot. It's just
Yeah, so
the
that's the
wounds you
idea.
do will be severely limited, and
Well,
they can march up to your face pretty quickly as
Yeah,
well.
and when you're playing
So,
against those blind light armies, they're going to be strength 3, and when you're all D5, it's a bit meh.
so you'll probably only kill roughly, I don't know, let's say 5 models before combat hits because of 2 or 3 turns of shooting and blinding light.
well
That's
then,
if
see,
you're lucky.
this is the thing. I was thinking with Saruman, you can maybe move things around to
Mm.
you know
I think Salmon
stop
gives
blinding light
you,
covering.
yeah, I think Salmon and Gorf give you the edge when combat actually hits, and also because of where you don't have the blisters, all of your troops are in a battle line.
Mm,
So your battle line's actually still solid. Um,
yeah.
so I think you will do better into most lists which do have blinding light. And then Urukai, I mean, you've got quite a few guys with shields actually. I know it's only 6. Yeah,
Yeah, or six. Yeah.
yeah. I'd possibly have gone
Vince,
for a
how
couple
come
more, but
no Grima
What
when
instead
there's
of
going to be so
pikes?
many might banners?
yeah, only like 2 or 3. Just
Yeah.
but that's
Vince,
knowing how
why,
many blinding light stuff's going. To be honest.
Vince, why no Grima, as James just asked?
Oh, I just thought there'd be lots of wraiths. He
Yeah,
kind of has been found out. He just gets dealt with very easily with magic.
he's a lot of points as well. To
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you got lots of gladiators and lots of wraiths, he just doesn't do anything.
yeah, I think Salmon's a good counter to the banners slash heroes that you may need to transfix who are going to be
Yeah, yeah, because
doing stuff.
if you're worried about them marching your face, then one thing you could do is just transfix the banner, right? If you
Yeah,
win priority
no,
or
not not
Sorcerer's
that you would
Blast
have
it.
like the time of your life against a blinding light list, but you've got a fighting chance.
Can I just ask a quick question? This could be a stupid question, but you can compel a model to drop a light object, can't you?
You know, but they don't count as a light object unless
No,
if the
yeah.
model's being killed.
I did look that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
So
Oh,
they're
because
just treated
if
like a
you
light
said it's
They
object when
just get
they're
a
only
on.
TP at the end of
it's
the
only
game.
Yeah,
when it's dropped it counts as a light object.
yeah,
I see.
yeah. So you
Okay.
can't pass it
That is
either or
gaming
stuff
from
like
you,
that.
isn't it, mate? That is real gaming, buddy.
I learned a lot from our round 1 matchup at Lord of the Imps in 2022. Bastard. Lol.
Um,
And unfortunately, you can't compel models to go prone, which is sad. But
I
no,
mean, yeah, you could totally compel it to drop the banner if it was just treated as a light object, but
yeah,
it's only
no,
when it's dropped. So
yeah. The thing you can do though is because it's an 18-inch range, transfix and compel is you can literally just stop that banner getting near you.
yeah. I think that will be the plan in majority of
Mm,
my games. I think so.
yeah.
I I know there will be some rough matchups, but I think if I get lucky, it will do all right. I think it'll do better than Ben's. I'm pretty confident because with the magic, I can make more things happen. Whereas with Ben's, yeah, it's just shooting, isn't it? And
I don't
with
know.
lots of
That
blinding
bomb
light,
team's
as
pretty
you said,
terrifying.
damage
Well,
might not be as high as he'd hope.
I'm going to reserve judgment for when we do the tier list.
what was that, James?
Yeah.
Your mic's a little bit quiet. What was that?
Oh, yeah, bomb team is terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd actually argue that the bomb team is
It is
more
really good.
controlling than Saruman. Because
Yeah.
the Saruman thing with the banner only works 50% of the time, assuming you win 50-50 priorities. And then people can still play around terrain regarding their banners, so you just can't see the banner anyway.
People are just going to trap it in as well, so you can't
Yeah,
compel
like
it.
You can sources blast it.
but you're marching up and then you put
Oh,
the
you know, but and if you transfix it when it's 18 inches away, it doesn't really matter. Like if it's not moving anywhere,
Yeah.
because that's what you want in that situation.
Basically, if you win priority, transfix it. If you lose priority, sources blast it.
Yeah, but people, I think it's the fact
Just
that people,
blasting it though, it just. I mean, yeah, next turn it stands up and it's moving half, but like it isn't.
Yeah, but for that turn, it's switched off,
It's prone. Yeah.
Um,
which is what I want, right?
The one interesting thing about the bomb is, with all the magic going around and you can channel black dart, you could actually have quite a lot of lists destroy the bomb.
how many wounds is a bomb?
3
Three.
wounds.
What defense?
D10 or D9?
It's
D7.
It's only
Oh, really?
D7. So
I
it's
think
wounding
so.
on threes. If you channel it, it does
Yeah.
D3 wounds.
Surely not. Surely the bomb's only D7.
I think it's a D. Yeah, I think it's.
No,
and then
I
if
think
you
it
do
is
a wound to it
D7, yeah.
on a 6, it goes 4 if you just remove all the
Could it
wounds.
blow up if you kill it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can do. I don't know whether it does if you
I think
do 3 wounds.
Yeah,
I could.
I think
Go
I think
horrendous.
if you remove all the wounds, it goes off automatically. I don't remember actually. I need to look.
No, I
it
think
up.
it's only on like a 6 or something.
Yeah,
like that,
it's if
so-
you wound it on a
I think it's always on a 6, right?
Wound it on a 6
That's
and
definitely
then they
not worth
roll
a
on
channel
the.
black dart.
It's
Then.
D7 of 3 wounds. If the charge is wounded, roll a D6 per wound inflicted. On a 6, the charge immediately detonates.
Oh, per wound.
Yeah. But
So
you
it's
can
Once it's
still just
destroyed, so
remove
if
the
it's
bomb as a
destroyed,
threat
It can
with,
just not happen at all.
with Black Dart quite
Yeah.
easily.
Okay.
One other thing I did want to mention, we're quite deep in the episode to be mentioning this, but what do you guys think about putting the banner on a cav? Because a number of players did decide to put it on a cavalry model, and obviously you make
Way
the banner
easier
effect bigger.
Way easier to compel and stuff.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, but you're not always necessarily coming up against something that has a compel. There is obviously lots of them going, but then you can just trap it in. Then you've got a much bigger banner effect and the range for
Is
say
it much bigger? I
At
mean,
30
I feel
More awkward.
At 35 to 40 models, 6 inches is ample.
is enough. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have the cav be able to go run off and claim an objective.
You limit
Unless-
yourself in recon. You make it easier later on in the game for a compel to go off on that banner. And
Yeah, late game when there's not as many models around to block and things. Yeah,
Like,
That's
I think the stuff you gain from it is negligible from the stuff you lose from making it a warrior on foot. Like I'd rather I think going for mounted is a bit of an oversight, I think, personally.
fair enough. Okay, so we've spoken about the Isengard lists. We will move on finally to Sam's Kingdom of Moria list. I thought we'd leave this one till last because you've had a little bit of a rough time lately with your Kingdom of Moria. Maybe
Yeah,
we should be ending on a
was-
sad note, but I thought I'd give
Preston
you.
was good fun, and then start day one of what was it called? Bath
Bubbles.
was one of the worst things I've ever experienced.
Ever
So yeah. Anyway, I've got Balin as my leader, obviously, because it's the Kingdom of Moria. So he's got 3 Dwarf Warriors of Shield, the King's Colours, Dwarf with Shield, Ranger with Longbow and Throwing Axe, and then 5 Vault Warden teams. I've got Gimli, 3 Dwarf Warriors of Shield, 2 Rangers with Dwarf Longbow and Throwing Axe, and then 3 more Vault Warden teams, and a Dwarf King, 3 Dwarf Warriors of Shield, 2 Rangers, Dwarf Longbow and Throwing Axe, and 3 more Vault Warden teams. So 11 Vault Wardens in total, 40 models, 5 bows with, and then you have the Throwing Axes from them as well as Gimli. 8 Might with Double March from Balin and the King, and then I've gone for the Might banner as well because no cav and dwarfs move slow, and what helps that? March.
Free might.
Be able to march a lot makes you an 8-inch moving army, which is much better than 5.
So how is this different to
But you
your?
already have.
Obviously, the model count
Oh,
is
there you go.
higher than your Preston list and the one you took to Bubbles. They were 36. But have you changed the heroes? Did you have a King's Champion?
I had a King's Champion over Door King, yeah.
But okay, yeah.
Well, King's Champ's 140.
Because you get the 6-inch banner anyway. You don't need the.
Yeah.
You should have gone for 3 banners.
No, I feel like the King's Champ is still so worth it, even if you're getting an extra banner.
Well, you can be wrong, but that's fine.
So savage. I agree though, especially because Divide and Conquer exists, and having double march in Divide and Conquer is a luxury.
I guess you just put the Dwarf King on his own, right?
Oh yeah, put Dwarf
See-
King on his own.
I wouldn't have gone the Might Banner in this because you've got 5 points of march anyway, and you don't really need to be moving first most of the time. You're not going to have heroes that are going to reliably heroic combating and stuff like that, whereas a fight 5 Vault Warden line is much more appealing in a lot of
Ali
these
is just
scenarios.
salivating at the thought of a 5/5 Vault Warden line.
Well, so what I may or may have not done and written for someone else who's going because they're borrowing my models. It's a
What
similar
if I don't
list
bring them?
with the same heroes and then 12 Volt Warden teams, and sort of it's very similar.
Wait, same heroes, but then there was only one Barlin, right? For the leader breakdown.
Because that list only went on like 2 days ago, probably
Okay,
when.
makes sense.
But yeah, so yeah, I think the fight 5 you get more use out of in this army than the might one will do. But that's also from how I've learned to play dwarves anyway, because I've historically always used them with low might anyway, so I don't really care about people having more might than me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't care to move. It's more for them.
Well, you got 5 points of march anyway.
Yeah, but it's that he
Yeah,
doesn't
but-
want to be using all of.
If you still had the King's Champion, I would kind of probably agree with you. But because you kind of got the disposable might for March, because you're not using it for much else.
Well, it's the fact that it limits it negates the biggest weakness of the movement with the dwarfs, but it's a case of Barlin is obviously is big susceptible to magic when it comes to, Witch King and Shadow Lord being so.
Yeah, but you don't need to use them in combat, so he's safe anyway.
I don't think you're going to be using your free priority much this event, Sam, or well, your reroll.
But like he can just die just to magic.
Yeah, so
Go back
don't
up.
put him where it's going to get killed.
No, but if you
How did your last event go?
you need to go up with the army. You can't just leave in the back of the board and that's it.
Sam needs to give you some advice from the man who podiumed the league,
If
who
you-
won the league with Khazad-dû.
So how's Barlin not dying then in your version?
Well, you have resolve.
So you're just going to eternally do resolve with Barlin?
No, but you have the option to resolve with the might banner because
Yeah, no, but as in like, so that is your plan, just to rely on one free.
but it gives you an
dice
option
resist.
to do that because
Yeah.
otherwise you have your 2 wound 1 fate here leader that people can just double black dart winning on 4, spend might on the black dart to cast or to wound because they don't give a shit, and then it's like, oh,
It's going to happen anyway, even if you are resolving.
yeah, but it gives you something to potentially counter it regardless. Like, yeah, you could hide it behind a building and that's it, having near the army, but so late game he pops out. But
Barlin stinks. Okay, that's the moral of the fucking story here.
it's one of the
Sam, if you're that worried about it, take Durin.
Justice for Durin. That's what I'm fucking saying.
I want Barlin.
It's the West podcast. Come on, give fucking Durin his.
God, this guy's going 0-3 day 1 again.
Oh no, 3-3.
Sam should do
Oh my god, I'm
a
in
draw,
trouble.
maybe. No, he should do better than that. But yeah, I'll let someone else.
But yeah, let's deflate after that. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's do that by moving.
Yeah, I
on.
think.
Oh, sorry, Vince. Gone. We were final thought.
Is he frozen on his spot?
I said I think I do actually agree with Ali. I think I'd be more scared of fight 5 dwarves. I think.
Vince, I've always said you have the best tactical aptitude in the Gollum's gamers.
Even though I was wrong before about the King's Champion, but yeah, that's fine.
He's beating that drum for. Yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, then we will move on to the tier list. For the bottom tier this week, we have Lobelia Sackville Baggins, as submitted by a viewer in our previous preview episode. So, if you want to help me name the bottom tier,
I've got one for next week.
the next Ali, this is
It's got to be.
you're not a viewer anymore.
I was
It's
gonna
got to
go
be.
Sam
It's got to be the
Bratton after that last
Harbinger banger.
Hamburger of
idea.
Eden.
No, viewers, if you want to name the bottom tier, let us know in the comments down below. But for the audio listener, for our tier list, if you are the best list, you will end up in our lemon category. Then descending down from there, we have silly, nervous, nervous, dog, and this week, Lobelia, Sackville, Baggins would be the worst lists. So starting off, we have James's Halls of Thranduil list. Where is it going? With the
Silly nervous.
mic banner. 31 models though. Slow.
Still silly nervous.
It is silly nervous.
Just
Yeah.
because of how dangerous Legolas can be to a lot of the lists that are going. And then
Damn,
Terror
oh,
goes
he's going
quite
in the
well.
bin.
Yeah, and then Terror counters Angmar quite well. Admittedly, you may get sapped, Will, but it will work for a couple of
Just
turns.
hide behind terrain.
Now, Ali, having looked at the lists, were there many leggies going?
No,
I don't think so at
There's
all, from what I
two.
saw. Two. There you go. So,
Another genius.
yeah. Are we happy with silly nervous then, Sam and Vince?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good list.
Okay. Adam can get down that end. We have. Let's put me and Ash together. We have mine and Ash's Mordor lists.
I'm just gonna go nervous for both of you.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think I actually don't like either of your lists, unfortunately.
Jesus Christ.
I just think
they're not better than the normal list. Is the issue?
like I feel like there's just you just
This was
loaded
the
in loads of tools and loads of support heroes.
Well, this was the issue I was kind of like when I was thinking about what army to take. I thought about taking Mordor, but I'm thinking, well, what issue does Mordor really have that you can take a banner and it will solve a weakness to the list? But instead, you just take more might. But say something like Loth, for example, it has quite low might anyway, so taking the might banner solves that. But I mean,
Mordor, both of your versions of Mordor already have quite a lot of might.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I guess it makes the casting way more reliable. Like the Witch King rolls a 4 high, even with the reroll on, say, a Black Dart or a Sap Wheel or something. Like it makes the casting more consistent. You've got 2 castings to make that more consistent with, the channeled versions of the spells as well. I think play a big part in the event. So it does.
I just don't think it elevates it.
It's how, yeah.
As high as like some of the other Mordor versions.
And I think as well, a really underrated part of the Witch King style list is that you have a fight 5 mounted striker, which you can use in Suladan, and neither of our lists have that.
I think going for that proper combat hero, so either Gothmorg or Shagrat or someone like that would have been.
I've been thinking about taking Shagrat, but then when you take the Shadowlord, you could just go Witch King Shadowlord.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, also.
But then you don't get March, so that's an issue you have to solve.
Yeah. Also, there are a few lists running around with the Courage banner as well, which there aren't loads, but
not many.
It kind of still has the issue. The one weakness of the list is it's not overly great in combat, and you've got a soft underbelly, especially Ashes with a lot of trackers. And I'm not sure Gorbag or the Mouth or Goetz is going to make up that combat potential against a lot of lists.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's not. You don't have a big puncher, but you've invested a lot of points in the casting, so you're hoping to get the return for that from that. But Sam and James, what do you think? Nervous? Do you agree with the other two, or?
I
think it's the very bottom of silly nervous.
Sam,
Still does have a lot of tools as well as movement, but yeah, it isn't built brilliantly.
It's the fact I've seen other people's lists, like the lists I've seen now. It just isn't as good.
Yeah, so I've got the advantage. I've seen most of the lists, and I don't think it's.
As have I, and I still wrote the list.
Like I think I would have put it silly nervous.
Well, I did that obviously before, just for clarification.
I think I would have put it silly nervous just as a list, but like the dwarf, like all the Iron Hills list, for example, that just absolutely
that's what I sort of meant earlier with the fight value. Like, I think a lot of people maybe early when they saw the pack, I know I did, everyone was like, oh my God, the fight value banner. But not many people have gone for it. So those that have, think
So I think every list we've looked at pretty much in this pod is better than these two lists.
It's like the 38 elves just does win.
yeah, it's really, really
Yeah.
good. And considering you've
Tails
got
wins.
40 models
James's.
and they've got a lot of trackers.
Even Sam's list probably wins.
Yeah.
Like the only way you're beating those lists is on scenarios most of the time, and I don't know if you've got the greatest advantage in scenarios to make that
I
reliable.
agree now. Nervous.
Sam?
Yeah, nervous.
I mean, it's going nervous. Whose is going higher, mine or Ash's?
Yours is.
Yeah, I think yours is slightly better than Ash's.
Ali, Sam?
God, Ash be so pissed. Let's put you above Ash, mate.
Let's go! 11 trackers is dog poo.
Let's go.
That's terrible. But Ali, we need your vote as well, just for the sake of whose is better, mine or Ash's?
I'm gonna go yours just because it's
That
funnier.
is a full sweep.
And it's true. And it's true.
I mean, it's quite close. Like, put it this way, I think the Ash going for mouth is better than Gerrit's, but then I think going for more trackers was a mistake, so I bring it back down again.
And only one calf. D4.
Yeah, I think because you will do better at the scenarios, I'll go with you ahead. So if you do worse than Ash, you're a letdown.
Yes. Well, I'm full of letdowns, that is for sure. Okay, moving on. We have Ben and Vince's Isengard lists.
Oh, this one's hard.
I could see this either be
Against
put in
us.
silly, nervous, or dog, literally depending on how your matchups go.
Yeah.
Because if you play Brilliant like they're nearly the whole time,
I think they're silly nervous. Considering how
Such a Sam comment.
Oh, sorry, but no, I'm not sure Vince's is silly nervous. Sorry, Ben.
it's just you could either have the best matchups and do unbelievably well.
See, I'm putting Ben's top of nervous,
You're putting Vince's
and
silly nervous.
Vince's, I'm gonna put bottom of silly nervous.
Or I'm going the other way around.
Let's go.
I'm going the other way around.
Purely because Vince has an answer. Not like he's going to win, but if Blinding Light is on the opposing army, he can still compete. I don't think Ben can. I think they both
Yeah,
will blow
that's-
anyone away who doesn't have Blinding Light. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Saruman gives me something when I don't have necessarily a solution to a problem.
I just think Ben having the double ballista and the bomb is just insane.
But the double ballista doesn't add, like, you're going to outshoot anyone anyway. With Blinding Light and that many crossbows, you win the shooting war.
It's just really good.
But the
If I
double
was Ben,
ballista
I'd have gone
doesn't.
for the might banner.
You're going to do more
That would
damage.
have been better.
Yeah, I think some
So you
people
just stick the
taken
might next to
ballistas
the ballista
with the might banner. Yeah,
I'm gonna
I think
get a
I think
6.
some people have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, it's like going from I don't know, fight 6 elf to a fight 7 elf. It's not really actually made too much difference in
Yeah.
90% of the combats.
To have the might there or to have the double ballista.
I mean, as in like having the double blister instead of Saruman, basically.
I think it does.
One gives you another option, the other one just makes you better at something you're already stupidly good at.
I think it makes you quite like having the two ballistas along with the crossbows is a pretty big improvement.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
irrelevant really because you're going to win the shooting war.
Yeah, but you might not do as much killing with your crossbows that you may be. It doesn't.
Yeah.
always be good in those.
Like, so
but
rather than killing 15 models, you may kill 12. Like, that's the way I'm seeing it in my head. Whereas Saruman gives you an answer if you can't kill those 15 models.
Yeah,
I do think
Saruman-
Vince is better, solely because if you play against Blinding Light, either Shadow Lord or Galadriel,
Yeah, there is a lot of it. Yeah.
those models also have a way to transfix the bomb, which is then you've been turned off through Blinding Light with Fury shooting, as well as your bombs turned off, and Sam at least the Gorolf and Saruman can still do stuff
I guess the other
instead.
question is how many of these armies we've looked at have a really good target for the bomb?
It's like there are good targets, but again, magic is a counter to the bomb because you just transfix the guard of flame or whoever it is, and they can't
Well, you
detonate
can
it.
compel someone to move the bomb right, and then they can't move it any further because
Yeah.
it's on the object.
Yeah. So it's like and the lists that take blinding light also have compel most likely. So you're doubling down on getting pooed on.
You're doubling down and getting food on.
I'm more convinced that Vince has a better round list, but I'm personally just way more
Expert
scared of
analysis
Vince's
right
list.
there.
Yeah.
So
Like
let's rank. Are we putting Vince's above Ben's then? It seems that's the consensus. Okay, is Vince's edging up into the bottom of Silly Nervous and Ben's at the top of Nervous, above mine and Ash?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to put Ben's and Silly Nervous as well, but
God,
Ali, you're on mute still.
Ali's using his voice box, but he can't use it at the same time.
No, I said that I'm not upset about Ben going in Silly Nervous as well because he does beat the other Isengard list because he has blinding light.
So you want Ben down in Nervous?
No, I said I don't mind him. I personally would put him top of Nervous, but I feel
You
like
don't
bottom of
mind
Silly
him
is
down.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will leave it there like this then. Moving on. Finally, Sam's Kingdom of Moria list.
Lobelia.
I feel Baggins.
Le Beast.
Just to check, are we rating this based on the player using it, or?
It's always the list.
It's
Always the list.
player. Jesus Christ.
Um,
Jesus Christ.
No. This at best, this is nervous, but I want to put it
this is a
in
nervous
dog.
list.
I think.
I mean, I think it's got to go below mine and Ash's. Sure.
no,
It's for sure. It's the worst list here, but
it's not.
Oh, I don't think
It's
it
it.
is.
It beats the Ash.
Yes,
and
but that isn't what.
Elliot.
But that isn't what we're judging it on.
Okay,
If I
but
play
it'll-
Vince's
okay,
list,
It's still
not-
solid against shooting. It's got the movement. It can get there and still crunch through
Yeah.
things.
I mean, to give Sam credit, he shooting isn't as big an issue because he has infinite march, but and then he's D9 front, then D7,
Yeah.
and then D6 because you go Vault Warden, Tower Shield, Dwarf Foil Shield, Foe Spear, and then he'll still just munch through like the Black Numenorians and all that stuff. So
Yes, but again, for the third time, we're not looking at the direct matchup.
no, but as in
No,
like
that's not even the matchup though, is it? That's just
no,
everything.
yeah. So it will be able to munch through pretty much any list it can get to combat with.
Or whatever they are.
Like, I don't think there's a Mordor list I'm actually. Oh no, I've got to play this.
Bear in mind, this is 40
Balin just
models.
dying.
Yeah, like I'm out modeling both of your lists with D9.
I think the only list is not that we looked at that it's not got higher models than is Angmar. At which point, it's
But it's
orcs
not playing
versus like Vault Warden Battle Line,
Yeah.
and the trolls don't necessarily like Vault Wardens.
Like the worst list I could play against out of these ones is Ben's, just because of ballistas,
Yeah.
and that's it.
So
And
is
then
the
the bomb as
consensus
well.
that we're
It's-
putting it above mine and Ash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vince? Is Vince even?
No, I'm not convinced. Like, although I don't like the Mordor lists, I just feel like they've got more tools.
Well, so Ali and James voted below.
No, I
voted-
Sorry,
I
above.
voted
Me and
Yeah.
Vince vote below. So you know what that fucking means.
Ratton gets to decide.
You know what that fucking means.
Actually, no.
I'm going to use the Mordor dice because
Just to upset Ash
I
before
wouldn't
you
want
roll
to-
it, we're only deciding whether he goes above you.
Oh yeah, okay. I do kind of want Ash to be the bottom pick for an episode, but we will let the dice
I
decide.
mean, he's been the
So,
bottom player at a lot of events recently.
On a 1, 2, or 3, he goes below. On a 4, 5, or 6, he goes above. 4, 5, or 6,
Oh, he's above.
he goes above. So Ash is going to end
Wow, what
at the
exhilarating
bottom
content.
of a tier list for maybe the first episode we've done. He's down the bottom. But that is the tier list. So any more final thoughts about the event or anything?
That's why I've
Um,
been at the top of the tier list.
not really, although I'm going to do another plug.
Go on then.
So in a month's time after this event, so about
Yeah.
6 weeks from now, I've got my event in Winchester.
Another funky event, eh?
Yeah, City of Kings with a bunch of custom scenarios. And so there's tickets still available. So
Tickets
check it out.
available, folks. The Gollum
Ali,
gamers will be there in force.
Yeah.
Ali, can you stop TOing events and actually like go get some points?
Yeah, we
I've
need
already
points.
got us
got
like
like a
the best
98,
second place that
right?
there's going to be this year,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, but we'd like
Now,
more.
Vince, you got to go get some scores.
Yeah.
It's a team, right?
What we're waiting for is Goble actually to get his first podium and stop getting fourth and fifth at every event.
Fuck, David Clubley screwed me over.
Yeah.
Couldn't kill his stupid banner.
Clubbers.
Oh, if you're struggling to kill banners, it's not going to go well.
No.
This one, is
Aerostar
it?
against the banner,
It's-
and I just lost the combat.
Well, on that bombshell, we will close it off. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching another episode of the Gollum Gamers podcast.